Hello, hello, and welcome. I am the Nine Hopper, and welcome back. This is episode 2, part 2 of the A's and the 1,000 Genders document. Now, from when we left off, we read the alien gender, and the one before that, the most ridiculous gender on here, the Algia gender, which I don't know how your gender changes because of your pain levels, but you know what? Just don't question it, just read it and laugh and just joke with it. But as always, the link to this document will be in the description, so if you want to look at it and follow along with me, you can. Now, without further ado, the next gender, alias gender, alia gender, a gender identity that is other and or that is outside the existing social construct of genders. So this gender must be the gender of genders on a whole different plane of existence or something. I don't freaking know. These genders are just gonna get worse and worse as we read on to it. Alti gender, and oh my god, this description is freaking disgusting. I'm only gonna read this top part. I'm sorry. Pronounced Alta gender. Derived from shortening the phrase alternate existence. It is a xenogender that feels as though it's in a parallel dimension, on a different plane, in a mirror universe, or just in an alternate existence, originally created to explain the distance one might feel due to neurodivergence, specifically disassociation or depression. It is still unusable for any person to feel distance from their gender. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a stroke reading these, man. This is way too much to read, man. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm not reading all that. I'm already having a stroke reading a little bit. I can't even say, look at this. Look at the freaking paragraphs for these things. Come on, freaking scroller, can you work with me here? Scroll down just a little bit. Okay, I think all the texts are just screwing it up. Where do I even begin with this one? It looks like the alta gender legit just interferes with the next gender, alter sex. I'm trying to freaking to allow for non-sexualized, non-slur term for the fictional or transition sexes, as opposed to describing them as things like, what? Are they censoring? I don't know what that word could be. I'm assuming that says cunt boy, dick girl. Oh, that right there must say futa. And like, as it currently popularized, alter sex does not imply any sex characteristics, just as intersex does not. Listen, this is the beginning of episode 2, part 2 of the A's, and I'm already like completely just out of my mind right now. Listen, let's just go into the next one. This whole sentence, paragraph, thesis statement, it just has me all types of mucked up. So we're just gonna continue on. Emab, Kamab, Demab, Mab. Assigned male at birth. So right then and there should be nothing else to say about the gender. It literally says assigned male at birth, which means you were born a male. That is your gender, a male. There is just no need for all these other access stuff. You are a guy. A mare gender, a gender that changes depending on who you're in love with. See also amor gender, amica gender, copy gender, mirror gender, ludo gender, and reflecti gender. That also sounds exactly like the freaking absorb gender in a way, kinda, sorta. But maybe I'm just stupid. I'm just making things up and trying to sound funny, but I'm really not funny at all. Ambigender, a feeling of two genders simultaneously without fluidity, shifting, may be used synonymously in some cases with bigenders. I'm going to have a complete aneurysm, essential crisis reading these freaking descriptions. These descriptions are not good at all. These descriptions make me more confused than the actual gender name itself. Okay, breathe. Moving on. Ambonic or AM, A gender identity in which you identify as both male and female, yet you also identify as neither at the same time. What? Oh my god. So then what are you then? You identify as male and female, but you don't. So then what the heck are you? A gender. A gender that changes depending on which friend you're with at the moment. Also, a married gender, a more gender, copy gender, variant gender, ludo gender, reflected gender. So these are the same thing. A gender that changes depending on which friend you're with the most at the moment. So what do you change into when you're spending time with a dude friend? Are you gonna be a dude? Or will you literally turn into him, the person you're hanging out with? A lot of these genders I think are identical because they all have hearts and stuff. Amigender, a gender that can be fit to be loved by the individual, and they sometimes feel more in touch with a certain gender. Does not depend on the individual's assigned gender. Slightly different than non-pure, non-pure, in the way that someone may be assigned female or male, and they don't consider themselves that gender, but they like to present that way. It's also very changeable since the whole gender revolves around the user loving it. Like someone can be a glass gender girl because they love how it suits them at the time. I am having I can't process that. There's too much to process. They need to describe these genders better, or I need to just get smarter. A more gender, aerogender, or filco gender. When your gender changes whilst in the presence of an individual who you have developed a deep connection for. This can be romantic attraction, platonic connection, or spiritual infinity, or anything similar. See also, okay, I've seen that. Copy gender. So why not just put that in the same category of the absorbed gender? That also seems like an absorbed gender. All of these genders, like I said, they're exactly the same, but just different, but just somehow differently in that way. I'm babbling. I need to just continue. Impulse gender? A gender better described as non-strict identity, not static, solid, or stable. Or when your gender is very wide, varied, and miscellaneous. These descriptions are not helping anything. I still don't know what the heck that is. Excuse me, that was gross. I just ate before this. Andro fluid? And is that a gender? It's like a demi-boy, except your amount of boy seems to change, possibly interchangeable, the same as boy flux. What is that? What does that mean? Can you elaborate a little bit more than just whatever the heck this is? And then there's this androgen insensitive syndrome. This is apparently some kind of syndrome, not a gender. So that's proving that having all these types of things means you are not well and need to see a therapist. Androgyny? No, I'm not gonna pronounce that. A gender identity where a person experiences a blending of genders or feels that their identity is in between genders. Usually not always. People who identify as androgyny, feel that their identity is blending of male and female, or somewhere between those two genders. This, people may or may not choose to represent androgyny. Now what? Oh my goodness. Oh my god, it's this freaking thing again. Oh, it's coming up next again. A state where you have fluctuating feelings of masculinity and femininity. By your gender identity stays the same. Someone who is androgynoflex can be of any gender identity: binary, trans, non-binary, cis, etc. And I'm still at a complete utter loss, even with these descriptions. I'm so serious. This is not helping at all. There's more to read. I'm sorry. I'm not. I want to get off this gender. This gender is making me lose control. I'm gonna freaking have a mental breakdown. Not a mental breakdown, but a system overload. Unfortunately, the most you can see from Tum Tum, Tum Tum. Who the hell is Tum Tum? And Andrios, I cannot say that word, is discussion of how to deal with a child's genital. What are we talking about now? As in whether or not to perform surgery? Tum Tum is usually assigned to intersex conditions where the genitals end up covered by skin. So you're not circumcised? I'm so lost. And androgynos is assigned to intersex conditions where they are a mix of the usual two. Either that or these genders are treated as mere what-if genders. For certain laws, for instance, if a law states different treatment for women and men, how would it apply to someone who was both or neither? That sort of thing. Listen, you tell me, because I have absolutely no clue what you're on about. You tell me, please. Oh my god, the A's are gonna drive me insane. Angie gender, a gender where you can't describe it with any word but hatred or, oh god, hatred or anger. Unusable by the neurodiverse people with mental illness that cause anger or hate. So you have anger issues. So why is that all of a sudden a gender now? So because you have anger issues, that's a whole different gender. You can be born as some, oh, nothing, dude. I can't even. You just have anger issues. That's all it is. It's not a whole gender. And what is that even? I'm still trying to figure out what do these genders look like? How can I'm about to do some research after this. I'm gonna have to. Angeli gender, a gender related to God kin or angel kin, which is hard to describe to non-kin. Okay, so you're telling me is that you're some kind of angel? Okay, you're a biblically accurate angel. You're Sephiroth. To quote at Sapphic Crocker, it's a gender that feels simultaneously soft, warm, and bright, as well as hard, wink wink, cool and dark. If I were to describe it using colors, it would be bright orange like a sunset and a pale gray blue. To describe it in a few words, I would say it is a gender that normally be contradiction but is peaceful. These feelings might vary between everyone, but this description might help someone grasp this concept a bit better. No, absolutely not. I still have no clue what you're on about. Angenital or ANG, a desire to be without sex characteristics, does not correspond to any particular gender and does not require any corresponding feelings of genderlessness. Alright. Angu gender, a gender related to closeness. That doesn't say shit. That doesn't say anything about what it actually is. It's just a gender related to closeness. What is your interpretation of closeness? What is closeness? What does it have to be close to? A touch of walls and it knows what its gender is? And it tends gender. The same concept as intense gender. Feeling your gender more intensely than most people would. But basically instead of feeling over 100% of gender like bigender, intense gender is feeling over 100% for some form of agender. Okay, you know what? No. Antler. Antler, from anger to choleric. This is a strong-willed gender. They feel determined and certain about who they are. They will feel angry if other people insist that their gender does not exist and feel grounded and supported by their genders. So every person that's like, I'm not a girl or I'm not a boy, I'm nothing, I'm neither, that's what you are. Legit, this sounds like I'm freaking making a created character and this is their background. And then this is their background. This is coined as one of a set of 5 abinary genders similar to Mavericky. Tragment, Joyun, Europin, Antler, and Malak. These sound like all types of Greek god names, all types of weird freaking powers that you could get. These all are just some weird nonsense. Ano gender or Ana gender. Ano or Ana meaning up, back, and again anew. A feeling of gender that fades in and out but feels the same whenever it comes back. So that was the point. Different from gender fluid in that it's one gender constantly resurfacing rather than switching between genders. Maybe used on its own or as a prefix or modify again another gender. Is this with this? Hold on. Okay, these are not the same. Okay. A non-binary or a non-binary. Okay, we've heard of this, so now we're gonna know what that means. A gender that definitely isn't binary, okay, but is still outside of non-binary, hence using the a like a gender. No, since all genders aren't binary. Since all genders aren't. Oh my gosh, control yourself. Note, since all genders that aren't binary are by definition non-binary, this is sometimes used to mean a binary and sometimes used to mean kind of binary as the meaning is unclear. Oh, I had a stroke. I'm having a stroke. I don't know what to do anymore. Let's continue. A non-gender, a gender that is unknown to both yourself and others. Okay. Okay. Anonymous. So this is every member of Anonymous apparently. A non-gender. All right. I feel like this is what they do. They just think of words, try to. You know what? I'm not gonna try and think right now. It's so stupid. It's like, oh, fire gender, a gender that is protecting with fire and will only activate in fire. That's what I feel like this is. It feels like just they're creating magic powers or something. Anus gender or anus gender? I feel like I just read this already. A feeling that one gender is more accurate or correct to describe a person's identity, but that other identity is more comfortable for them. So what is the gender exactly? Is nothing. Anti-gender, a protein gender, which has the potential to be anything but is formless and motionless, like water, and therefore does not manifest as any particular gender. So it's everything but nothing. Shapeless, be water, my friend. Anti-gender or una-gender, opposite genderness of no gender, agenderness, but neither boy or girl, not necessarily gender. I don't know what that is. These two are obviously in cahoots because they look the same. Anti-joning, opposite genders of this line gender are illumin, not to be confused with unbinary, abinary, or anti-binary. They say that like we already know what the hell you're talking about. We don't know what you're talking about. No one here knows what you're talking about. Anti-binary or anti-binary. That's the exact same thing. Well, anti-binary. A gender identity that is in direct opposite or unaffiliated with the Western gender binary, a POC specific identity. I don't know what any of that means. They say that like we know what it means. We don't. I just read this. I swear I just read this. Anti-gender or ungender. A gender identity that can only be understood as the opposite of another gender. For example, an anti-boy would be the opposite of male. Do you think we know this? Because I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what that means. These descriptions suck. Annex gender, a gender affected by anxiety. Annex gender, a gender affected by anxiety. Are you fucking kidding me? So if you don't have anxiety, what then? What gender are you then? Apogender, a gender identity in which one feels not only genderless, but separate from the entire concept of their gender. So if you are born a dude, you're not gonna feel like a dude, even with the cock and balls. Apollo gender. When you have around 9 from 6 to 10 different distinct feelings of genders. So a personality disorder. But they have mixed into one big gender identity named after Apollo, who was a god of 9 different things. I knew it. This is what I'm talking about. I swear I must be going crazy. I swear I read this already. Apora gender, a gender separate from man, boy, woman, girl, and anything between, while still having a gendered feeling. How do you have a gendered feeling? I don't know how you feel that way. I don't know. Absconsu gender, a gender identity that is a process of elimination. What it is unknown, but the person is able to define what it isn't. A gender where you know what it isn't, but not what it is. Like the gender is hiding itself from you, from the Latin word absconsus, meaning hidden, secret, concealed, unknown. If it's hidden and concealed and unknown to you, then how do you know this is what you are then? There are a bunch of genders that say the exact same thing. A non-gender, where it's not revealed to you, if I can remember that's what it means, but how do you know that's the gender then?